The question I'm going to ask today, Dad, Papa, is...
The question that we're going to talk about is...
What is the most scared I've ever been? That one leapt off the page for me.
What was my first big trip?
How was the day of your wedding?
I'm going to talk about how I almost died twice in 2 years.
She was telling me her life story, and she didn't know it was me.
That is an absolutely true story.
And I can tell you about it.
Welcome to the Storyworth Podcast. I'm your host and Storyworth co-founder, Krista Baum. Each week on the podcast, we ask questions that help us hold on to a person's life story. We tell stories that help us get to know the people around us, people in our communities, even better. This week, a man who found home and community time and time again in the heat of restaurant kitchens.
Hi, I'm Sean Yancey, sometimes known as Scooter, 6 years old, 57, so I'm at 1968, Key West, Florida.
How did you get your nickname Scooter?
I used to scoot around on my hiney.
Oh, you were a bum shuffler, baby.
Yes. So yes, that's so my grandmother called me that, and it just stuck. In the South, everyone has a nickname.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. Dad's side was from Alabama, and my mom's side's from Tennessee. And I come from 3 generations of restaurant people. My grandmother had an illegal restaurant in her backyard for many years in Nashville in the late 50s, early 60s. So my mom, I didn't know this until my mom had Alzheimer's and one afternoon, and she was telling me her life story, and she didn't know it was me. She had she's oh my God, you remind me of my son. And then she told me this whole story. She had 3 boys, and they were all pretty like a year after each other. So there was always a bunch of people at her house. And during Lent, she used to just fry fish. And so she would fry fish, and people would come over. And, on Friday, if you're Roman Catholic, you eat fish on Friday during, should do it year round, but pretty much just at Lent now.
All right. Well, in your parents, were they strict? Were they?
No, they were scoundrels. They were scoundrels. Tell me more. They were scoundrels. The restaurant business. Well, before the restaurant business, my father was a salesman for the lingerie brand Vanity Fair back in like the 70s. So like I grew up in my house, there was like bras and nightgowns and just all this silky stuff everywhere. And then my parents bought a number of restaurants in Nashville in the late 70s and early 80s. And my mom was, she got pregnant young, and she's a good woman, a very compassionate person. Preached that more than anything else. She did a lot of wrong things, but she was compassionate to most everyone she ever met.
When you say she did a lot of wrong things, what do you mean? Were they big things or small things?
They were like restaurant things in the late 70s, early 80s things, sex, drugs, and, restaurants.
Tell me about their restaurant.
They had 3 restaurants. One of them was called The Cabin, and there were 2 of them, and one was downtown, in a place called the Arcade in Nashville, which is not like a video arcade. It was like an open air market, and that was just a small little diner, mainly counter service with a line, that's on the other side of the counter. And I started working in the restaurants when I was probably 12. For them, it was cheaper than than a babysitter.
Yeah.
My sister would go home, but I would stay in the restaurant and do something, generally wash dishes and try not to get in the way, bus tables. But it gave me, a foot in the door to a life that I adore. I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
What was it about the restaurant that kind of resonated with you so much? Like, what did you love about it?
I think mainly is it's family. It really is. And it is truly like the big equalizer. When it gets down to it, like I've never met a true racist person that has lived in a kitchen. You can't be. And it's a family, and you just feel comfortable with them because you spend so much time, and you can end up finishing their stories, and you still don't get sick of them, and they, more importantly, they don't get sick of you. There's an expression like we're all here because we're all not there. And that's what you get in the restaurant world. I went to a bunch of high schools because I was chaotic and out of control. And
did you get kicked out of a bunch of schools, or were your parents trying to find the right fit for you? Or
no. My parents were not trying to find the right fit.
Okay.
No, they weren't really around in high school. They were both working, crazy hours, and my sister had already gone off to college, so through high school I kind of raised myself. By sophomore year, I was able to do a thing called co-op, which you don't take electives, you just go work. So I did, English, history, math, and then after that, I got out of school and just worked. As a teenager, I worked a lot. I was working 5-6 days a week by the time I was ninth grade.
So you're 14, 15?
14, 15. So,
did your parents ask for your help in the kitchen, or is that something that was in you that you really wanted to be there?
A bit of both. I mean, they saw that it would probably be a good career for me. Hey, you don't do well at school, maybe you'll do well in this. And then you get moved up from dishwasher to cooking, and then cooking, you make more money. My mom did lean on me, my senior year, before I got kicked out, the autumn, the fall semester, the baker threw his back out, and I had to bake for the restaurants. And that would mean I'd get in at midnight and get out at 6 a.m. And then school started at 7.
Oh my gosh!
So I would go in and do 7 to about 11, and then just stinking of biscuits and bacon, I guess.
And you said you basically raised yourself as a teenager. I mean, was that lonely?
No, not at all. I mean, I had the restaurants. In 1986, I saved a bunch of money, and my best friend at the time, I was still best friend, we went to Greece for 5 weeks, in London for 5 days. And I was 17, he was 18. And, that changed my life.
Why did it change your life?
Meeting people from other places and seeing things that, I blew my mind. Like eating food I'd never seen before. I mean, food was a lot different back in the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, you didn't see a whole lot of like different cuisines everywhere,
So was it just the notion that, oh, wow, this world is a lot bigger and there's a lot more to it than
Nashville. Yeah. Yes. And couldn't wait to get out of Nashville and couldn't wait to like travel more. I went back home and I went back to school. And so I had to take my whole senior year over again. But yeah, through hook or by crook, I graduated in '88. But I wanted to be a chef. I wanted to work in the kitchen, and I just want to be a good working chef. Somebody that shows up on time, attention to detail, consistent quality, cleanliness, and compassion, just nice to the product and the people you work with and work for. I didn't care about like fame or it was all about the best food I could cook, and being a part of something that's just like out of this world. I moved down to New Orleans when, right after high school. And my whole thing was to be the best chef I could. And I knew I wasn't going to culinary school, and I knew I had to figure out a way to separate myself. I mean, in these days, right, to separate myself from my peer. And so I had planned this idea. First, I was going to, head to the best food city. There's other cities in the world that have better restaurants than New Orleans, but there's not a culture in the world that has the connection with food that you'll see there. It's unreal. And I went there and spent a number of years working for a chef called Alex Patou, who was a pretty well-renowned Cajun chef down in the French Quarter. And then I wanted to go to Europe, to go to Paris and be a chef at the Ritz in Paris. I thought that was the pinnacle of, being a chef. I didn't get to Paris, to the Ritz, but I did get to Savoy in London. Was there for a couple years, and that changed my life too. And I found out later I was the only cook out of 15 people in my orientation that lasted a year. It was just a grind. Nothing great ever comes out with a whole lot of effort. It doesn't matter who you are and how talented you are. You got to put forth a lot of effort, and if you don't, it shows. Especially in food, where it comes up in food comes up in the middle of your palate, doesn't it? Not like in the front where sugar or something, like where it's like right in, or in the back where it's too much salt. It's that middle of a bite, and the only way you get that middle is from time. Time is from something cooking for a long time, and you can't fake that.
Do you have children? Tell me about your family life now.
I do. I'm divorced to a lovely woman, Mary. She was a great partner for 27 years. Just different people now. I have a son and a daughter. My daughter, Salyn May, is 24. She's a ceramicist. She's passionate about her life and her work and her art. You
sound really proud. That's great.
Very proud. She has a unique trait that you don't see much. She's quietly confident. There's nothing that she doesn't think she can do, or nothing that she hasn't put her mind to that she has done. And then my son, Benedict Yancey, he's at Belmont University as theater and director, BFA in theater and directing. And you
have a bunch of artists.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them. They're good people. As soon as I put a car seat in the back of my car in the July 25th of 2000, I haven't sped at all. I really took my role as a father to be as serious as could be. And even if I didn't spend the time I should, the time I did spend was meaningful.
And every breakfast my children ever ate I cooked them. Yeah. So I always made sure to get up and because if I didn't, I wouldn't see them, would I? I mean, they'd be off to school and, I'd be off to work.
My daughter this morning, she's like, Mom, what's for breakfast? Oh, please don't tell me it's pancakes again. So I'm looking for some ideas. What did you like to make your kids for breakfast in the morning?
Egg quesadillas. For me, it's pleasing somebody, is having them be happy and joyful for what I've done for them. And it hits all the senses, doesn't it? Taste and smell and sight and, I guess a little of the hearing, and the feel on your palate and your tongue. It invokes a lot.
Do you think you'll work in kitchens until you retire?
Yeah, I mean, in some capacity. I mean, I've always kind of joked I wouldn't mind dying on the line. I would love, as a late 60-year-old, in 5 years, just to go somewhere and wash dishes,
Okay, you just want to be part of the family, even if you're
exactly.
not on the line. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, just be, like I said, just be part of something bigger.
It comes full circle. You'll go out the way you started, washing dishes, right? That seems kind of poetic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sean, thanks.
Oh, no worries. It was very nice to meet you.
That's it for this episode of the Storyworth Podcast. I'm Krista Baum. Thanks so much for listening. If you want to get started writing your own book of life stories or want to give the gift of Storyworth to a loved one, head over to Storyworth.com. And if you want one of your stories to be considered for the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at Storyworth.com/podcast. The Storyworth Podcast was produced by the folks at Good Weight Productions. Remember, everyone has a story worth sharing. See you soon.